Have you ever thought about the impact you going skating has on skating overall? Well, that new Brosco part by Pat Ryder really got me thinking about it because it inspired me to go skate. And I just can't help but think how many people around the world had the same experience. And from that, one video decided to go out and push themselves a little bit harder that day, and the effects that had on skating overall. Now, obviously, none of us are Brosco, I assume. Shout out Brosco if you're watching. We aren't exactly putting out some of the best skating of all time to inspire people, but I still believe even just being seen at the skate park has a very similar effect. And I want to talk about that today, because this front Nugan in particular got me thinking about this rail and how I could do that trick too myself. And it's the whole reason I went out and solo street skated this day. Before I talk you through how that session went, I gotta update you on the Tsunate shin guards, because I've been absolutely loving them. They've been my go-to shin guards since I got sent them, and they have a ton of good benefits. This design is not only more comfortable, more slim, but the thing I was worried about with them the most, whether they'll protect me, has somewhat been proven at this point, as I've shit myself a few times and walked away completely unscathed. So they're dope, and I definitely recommend them. The lack of Velcro on the straps is a huge plus, I think. It's one of the best points, making them so much more comfortable, alongside the fact that it can shape to your shin. You may have noticed I was on some different skates too. I've been skating the Icon ACTs recently and really liking them, man. They got a great fit, and the sole plate and frame groove just work together so well. I'm absolutely loving them. They're great. So this spot is one of my favorite in the city, and despite how chill and fun it looks, you shouldn't underestimate it. This thing has ribbed me and killed me too many times, more than I can count. And now I find it quite scary to skate, but I had the goal today to get as many topsides as I could, hopefully getting all of them. But first, I gotta start with the front five, since that's the whole reason I came to this rail. And here's the rail once again teaching me who's boss, showing me what can go wrong in this. I don't know how, but somehow I didn't lock that front torque foot, which I do so often now. I don't know what is going on there. And luckily I didn't get too smoked on it. I ended up hurting my left knee the most, just kicking the concrete block underneath. But it wasn't enough to ruin the session, but I did have to get up and do the front Nugan again, so I don't lose it. Which is advice I'd recommend to all of you. Never let the trick beat you like that. You'll never be able to do it again if you don't get up and do it back to back after getting smoked. As long as you can still skate after, right? You're not that smoked. With that trick out of the way, it's time to move on to top sides, and I'm going to start as always with the sweaty, even though that's definitely not my safe trick. It's the one that I seem to be doing the most ever since I destroyed my knee. Every time I come to this spot, I have such a mental block at just getting that first jump, and if you've been out skating, you know that first jump is so important. You got to do that first jump in a few attempts, or you'll never do it. And like all street spots, this spot has a lot of things you don't notice that make it a lot harder to skate, and I'm going to try to walk you through it. The hardest thing about this spot is just the run-up. It's just not big enough. You're going slow. You got to bounce more. And this tiny gap from the grass to the rail, it's like 30 centimeters. Makes it so much harder. The rail is also slightly misaligned with the run-up, so it's not quite parallel. It's just off enough to where my natural kind of point to land on top sides and stuff is not right. So I'm likely to miss it. It feels weird. You have to kind of overcompensate. And obviously, even though it's a low rail, because you can approach it from here, the fact that it's high on the other side means the falls are nasty, man. And I would argue they're actually worse than if the rail was just a normal high rail. I don't think you get as smoked as you do coming down on a lower rail with just as high a drop as a high rail. And that's just some of the details you would never notice just seeing a clip on this rail. And you can do that for every street spot that exists in existence. If something looks hard, you should know that it's 10 times harder to actually be there doing it. But I did eventually get that sweaty, and it didn't take too long, which is good, but I had the mental buff of the fact that I had done it not long ago. And even then, it took me too long. There's this thing I've been trying to work on with my street skating, and I don't want to have to feel out a trick. I want to just be able to do it, because to be able to do tricks, I find I have to do the stall, I have to slowly jump and not commit to it before I can commit to it. And I want to just skip that whole journey for once in my life. And that has just led to me not being able to street skate at all. So I'm kind of reverting back to my old ways. Maybe that's just the way it is for me, at least for now, and we can work on it. Because I feel like these like warm-up steps I take are not worth the bails that can come with them. It's like I'm adding more risk just to build my confidence a little bit more in the trick. But if it means I get the trick done, I'm probably just going to have to accept that that's how I skate street at this point. Now, despite landing that sweaty, the confidence didn't grow at all at this. And now is the hardest part, to do a trick I haven't done on this thing in years. And I decided to go with the topsole, which I think is my least safe topside, besides Fishbrain, of course. It's the one I would do last. And I think that's specifically just because I don't know how to bail it. I'm just not prepared to miss that topside foot without getting smoked. And also, the fact that you can't see your topside foot in that trick really bugs me. I'd prefer a top acid, because you can see your topside foot, and a top pawn any day. And even a Fishbrain, you can see it. But the topsole, it's blind. But that does note another thing that I think is super important to learn in skating, and that is how to bail tricks. And if anyone has any tips for me to learn how to safely miss a topsole on a rail, please let me know. For me, with the topsole, there's a huge mental barrier on it. I can't picture any time I've missed the topsole, but I just am so scared to do them. And it's so crazy, especially with the higher drop being on the side of the rail you're kind of going on. Really, really hard to get past. And there's a good chance I would have never even attempted this if I didn't follow these kind of street skating tips I have here. I think these 4 things are crucial for solo street skating. And the first one being, which I think is actually the most important, that you don't start the day at a skate park. I think you need to start at a street spot. Even if it's a really chill street spot, like a tiny ledge or just like a little drop, starting in the street is crucial, I think, to be in the right mindset to not kind of get too cozy. Every time you start a street session at a skate park, there's a good chance you don't leave the skate park. You should end the session at the skate park. The next tip is to make sure you're motivated. Watch some edits beforehand. Get motivated to street skate. It's so important. You can't skip this step. You will not be doing anything without the motivation, which the new Brosco video is perfect for that. The next tip is to remember that anything can be a spot. It doesn't have to be some crazy death rail. It can be something chill. It could be something that doesn't even look like it's possible to get a trick at. The fun with street skating is the exploring and making something out of nothing, getting creative. And I've found that super easy to forget about. And that is a crucial part to your skating that will improve your skating overall in many ways that you can't even envision without getting out and hitting the street. The final tip is just bring a camera, because it can act as like a buddy alongside music when you need the motivation to commit to something without someone being there with you. I know probably most of you don't street skate. Let me know if that's not true. But I would want to again encourage you to try do it. You don't have to go to skate crazy handrails, but I do think it's such a fun part of skating that can keep it more interesting. And it can ultimately vastly improve your park skating and your overall confidence the most. And it's definitely worth doing. Just cruising around your local area, looking for something random to do. There's a lot of value to that I think a lot of skaters are sleeping on. But anyway, after 10 minutes of trying to get myself to topsole this rail, I finally got it. I can't reinforce how scary this trick was to do, despite how kind of safe and chill it looked. I think I started to notice that there is a reason I hesitate on some tricks. Like, there is an insane bad bail that can happen on these from the technique I'm using. But to give myself the mental confidence to know that that won't happen and just commit, that is something that's super hard to do. And it also shows the importance of knowing how to bail the trick, of course, because that fear is gone once you know what happens if you miss. This trick is also a reminder of how good it is to go through the mental battle of overcoming your fears and making yourself do something that you don't want to do. There's some real value to that as long as you actually do overcome it. It can be pretty bad if you don't. And luckily on this day I did. I got that topsole. And with that amount of time, which is a good excuse for me not to do the other 2 topsides, 3. But I better go. Now I had a lot of topsides left to do, but I was smashed at this point. It took so much out of me doing these fake out jumps over and over again. So I decided to close it out with just a simple back royale. And to go back to the topic of this video in general, I don't think it's just Brosco that has the power to inspire a bunch of people to skate. You have that power too. Every time you're out skating in a time that's visible where other people are seeing you doing it, there's a chance that you inspire someone else to skate. And it's not just people brand new to skating, which is arguably one of the most important things you can do for skating. It's also your friends you're skating with, other people in your area. Every time you post a clip up somewhere, no matter how crazy or how simple the trick is, you inspire someone to go do it as well, which ultimately is so good for the sport and good for your community as well. Getting people out there, reminding them that it's fun to skate and to do things like this and why they like skating, and motivating them to push themselves and to have a bit of rivalry. It's all, the impacts on that is impossible to measure, but I think it's a lot more than you think. When you go skate, and it can be just for yourself. That's usually what it is, especially a solo session. But it isn't just affecting you. It is ultimately helping all of blading every time you do so, especially when you go in a visible time when there's other people around seeing what you're doing. This could be the first time someone ever sees blading, and who knows where that'll lead. So go for a skate. Thanks so much for watching this video. Huge thank you to my patrons and members. Can't do these videos without them. And yeah, actually go for a skate today. Who knows what that could do.